Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. It was fabulous weather once again on the southern central plains here. Reg kept some of that cold air bottled up in Canada, and we didn't have to worry about it. So really, very, very enjoyable. I am very proud to say that I now know how to take apart a laptop and change the keyboard. It did not solve my problem, but it'd be nice to be able to do something at least twice as opposed to having to figure out everything for the first time. But anyway, my skill base has increased a little bit. The computers won. I did not solve the problem. I had both of them. The wrong part was shipped on the desktop, and the right part was shipped on the laptop, but it didn't fix the problem. So we find ourselves once again dealing with a nation that changes parts, and then eventually they will get to the problem. So I'm ever hopeful. Anyway, I hope you had a great weekend. It was really fun here. Most able to enjoy quite a bit of time out of doors when it was all said and done. So it was a good weekend. Today is Monday. Monday usually starts off pretty slow. Equities around the globe are pointed higher because of China's weak number from HSBC, that's market. Their economic estimate is almost always below the official Chinese one. The official Chinese one is going to be at 50 for as long as they can keep it there. But HSBC's was 48.9, showing that Chinese manufacturing is contracting. I'm sure China's official one will come in higher than that. So the Chinese markets are up. Because China will have to liquefy, cut interest rates, do something to support their economy. So central bank intervention in the markets through massive liquidity at times, buying back of bonds and securities, debt obligations, supporting the stock market. Actually, several central banks actually buy stocks now outright. They make no bones about it. So equity markets have to be held higher, and our S&P is rallied back with the Chinese market. So looking at financials, financials are pointed lower. You can see the low volume number is at 11.5, so stops below 12 would then reach. Obviously, you got to bust this high volume number at 15.5 to get there. So when we look at this screen, the high came in P period, and we are dealing with a B ever since then. I mean, if you wanted to do an R split, you could do that too. So we've got sellers 24 to 28. So 23, 27, sell 1. And then 31 to 03, sell 2. Trying to pick up this single prints over there on our second number, leaning against the last rotate up in R period. We've got factory orders today. Big number, if as forecast, at plus 2.1, supported for indexes. Not so for financials. And then at the end of the week, we've got non-farm payrolls. And the estimates vary anywhere from 180 to 250, with a consensus right now at 220, rebounding from last month's 126. Now, if this number disappoints once again this month, then you'll see more and more written about the weakness in the U.S. economy, and et cetera. Here we're going to try to buy on the cheap, 13 to 17. Going to put a question mark right here at 20. Could hold, but I think it needs some help from the indexes, and then 5 to 9 will be buy too. I think there's one short left in the market to retest the overnight session low. If that holds, then we can start thinking about getting long. It is Monday. Volumes are off quite a bit from Friday. As we walk in, things get slow. I didn't see any change in the Greek news. People lined up outside of banks. No riots. everybody still thinks that they're going to get a deal. And last week, the European Central Bank started quietly funding the Greek banks to make sure that they keep their doors open and everything running. Okay, the knob spread came in over the weekend, lost a little bit more there, so the selling continues. And again, you can see right here we've got a pretty clean break in this market at 18 to 20. And we're currently at 14. Last rotate up was 18. Got a 3-letter ledge at 16, so the 16 to 20 is sell 1. And then we'll make 27 to 31 for sell 2. We'll open it up. If we get through 20, I think there's no reason not to expect a retest of the 24, 28. Because this market runs more than I usually think it can, I was supposed to having a 23, 27 sell. I made it 27 to 31. On the buy side, 1 to 5. And that's quite a bit away. We'll put a question mark at 9 right here where this volume is. And then 25 to 29, leaning against this volume right there is where volume is. So anyway, I like the a short once this morning, then we'll pick it up from there. And if equities sell, financials will come back. If equities continue to rally, financials should find sellers. And you can see that the P period high was for financials, and that's when the stock markets took off, was in P period. So gold is up. If the factory orders come in at plus 2.1, while some of that is built to the market, it's a negative number. Gold should sell off of it. So we're at 80 right now. We'll make 85 plus or minus sell 1, 90 plus or minus sell 2. Structurally down here, the 72 area has a lot going for it, but we got to get through 75 first. So 75 plus or minus buy 1. And then buy 2 will be in the 70 area, plus or minus. Don't think that anything has changed fundamentally in gold, that it is still bought on weakness, not as an investment, not as a trading vehicle. The support for the market comes from the retail account that wants some gold because of what's going on in every country's capital in the world. Pretty hard to escape the fact that everybody is borrowing to spend. Everybody knows the outcome. You just don't know how long it's going to take for that policy to run its course and bankrupt a particular country. You know, we see a lot of, actually it's toned down quite a bit, but we see a lot of stuff written about blood in the streets, armed revolution. But if you take a look at Japan, and we're not Japanese. We don't have the makeup. We don't save like the Japanese do. The Japanese experience is where we're headed right now. The worst case in that would be Argentina, and Argentina's gone through, I think, at least 3 defaults, maybe 4, and everything is still running there, but it is also controlled by populists and the mob. You take a look at Venezuela and Ecuador. My point is that you don't necessarily get blood in the streets. As the economy deteriorates and works its way down, it takes longer than most people think to reach the bottom. So there's a lot of borrowing power. There's a lot of printing to spend that can come if we don't turn this thing around with the right kind of economic policies. Okay, we have this low right here in the 29 area, the 30. We got this low over here at 1075, which is quite a ways off. That London low that started the market up came in the 19 area. So this 20 to 30 area will be buy 1. Definitely a B, and that's very, very aggressive. So I want to set up our test, and then 1075 will be buy 2. That one's fairly comfortable, just leaning against support on the sell side. We spilled from 90 We're at 44, so 65 to 75, picking up this area right in here, cell 1. Then 90 to the buck will be cell 2. And I can't see that anything will come out of Europe that'll, change anything today. I think the die has already been cast over there. Saw where Saudi Arabia actually put ground troops in Yemen over the weekend. I forget, it starts, Naraf, our city starts with a letter N anyway, has been being attacked from the Yemen side, and Saudi troops have been getting killed, and policemen and border guards, so they decided to put an end to that. But when it takes a lot of troops to hold a hostile foreign population, and Saudi's goal is to reinstate the democratically elected dictator that was recently kicked out by the Houthis. So that war continues, and I don't know what the outcome is. No one else, but I doubt if Saudi Arabia is willing to do what is necessary to put that baby to bed. So 75 to the buck, cell 1, 60 and a quarter, 60.50, cell 2. A lot of good stops above that. We're in a pretty tight trading range. This 58.50 area is pretty good support. So 59, 59 and a quarter by 1. And our 58.50 to 75 by 2. Let me get those numbers written down. I was reading a message from Fitz right there. He usually has a pretty good insight. The Fitz, there's a book written by David P. Goldman, who used to write for the Asian Times. It's actually pretty optimistic because everything we read about is the Muslim population growth dwarfs that of Western civilizations. And that has been true up through this generation, but he points out the demographics and the childbearing ages today. This generation is producing children, and they're as low as Italy's everywhere. Iran, Egypt, Iraq, all sorts of places. So his call for this overrunning of the world with Muslim population growth is actually contrary to what's reported daily. So you might pick it. That's a great book. It's pretty optimistic. You might pick it up and take a read. Take a look at that and see what you think. Because we see the same stuff over here. And the United States is given a birth rate north of 2% population replacement. Basically from its Christian population, not from its secular humanist population. So we'll see. Goldman, David P. Goldman. He writes for the Asian Times. I'll find the book and I'll put a link into the room. It's really good. Spengler he writes for that. He's really a good writer. I think a lot of stuff he brings up has been spot on over time. Not everything, but quite a bit of it. Now, the E-mini. China's numbers come in low. This is when the financials peaked. This is when the E-mini took off. So China numbers hit in A, B, or C, or D in this area right in here. Then Europe came in and bought it up. Why? China has to add money to their system. We got pretty good support down in this 95, 97 area, and resistance is in the 10 to 12 area right now. So first sells 9 to 11. The market's up, pretty aggressive. It's where resistance is. Then 14 to 16 for sell 2. Unemployment week, 2100, 2102 buy 1. Buy 2 will be 95, 97. I like Spengler's stuff because he's a bond trader, which means that, and a successful one. So it means he has to know economics pretty well. And to me, it adds more depth to his writing. But I'll go get that for you. It's going to take at least 20 minutes to get everything up and posted. Find that book for Fitz. I'll be back with you as soon as I can.